Hello, third graders. This is a skill of the week for your assignment that we're going to be doing, your personal painting that kind of describes you and explains who you are. And remember, we looked at Wassily Kandinsky, and I just wanted to show you, okay, just a couple of things, just remind you that he was influenced by color, okay, and he felt like it was composing music. And remember that he was inspired by Monet's impressionist view of haystacks. And so you can remember when we looked at these haystacks, and you can see all the colors that he used. And when Kandinsky saw these, he was just amazed, and it kind of influenced him to do a different style of painting. So remember, we looked at composition 7, and we've got all kinds of beautiful colors, and we've got those lines and those shapes that kind of move us through the page. And we talked about what certain shapes maybe look like. You could create lines, you can create shapes, you can create color blocks. So this one in blue was quite a bit different. You've got a little bit different background, how it blends together. You've got sharper images. It's up to you how you want to do your painting. This one, Moscow 1, 1916, kind of like he's doing an abstract version of the city. So you can put any of those kinds of things in that you'd like. And remember the painting with the red spot. And we thought some things kind of looked like skeletons in here, and we see things moving around. That top thing kind of looks like a crab leg to me now. So our mind naturally starts to make things into things that we recognize. Okay, painting with white lines. Remember, you can have a darker background and then put some light things over the top. So it's really up to you how you do that. And then the last one was points. And I really liked this because it kind of points in all different directions. And I love that background. And I'm kind of going to take my influence from that background and use something like that. So I'm going to hop off of that, and I'm going to change this. Okay, I kind of jumped to a different area because I thought that it was going the way I wanted. So I'm going to have to re-explain this. But I started to paint my background because remember I said I was influenced by that Kandinsky painting, the points one. And I have my colors, okay, that I'm using. And I have a piece of newspaper. I'm using cream color and white, and I'm blending those colors on my painting. I sketched out a little bit of a design that I was thinking I wanted to do. You can change it as you want, but remember, you want to use colors that you like, that express yourself, that go together. So I want you to be remembering the color wheel, okay? Colors opposite on the color wheel are complementary, and they go well together. They complement each other. They say, hey, you and I look good, so let's work together. But they don't look good if you mix them. So like if I mixed yellow and purple, they would look brown. So make sure that you're being really careful about how you're doing your colors. I'd like you to do your background first. So I want to kind of show you how you can do your background. I am painting first around my objects that I painted. Now these, I drew a few pieces here, but they're really small. So I'm just going to paint over them, and then I'll repaint them when I go to do them. Now notice that I'm using paint without washing out my brush. That's how you mix it. So I'm just painting right over the top. So I started with my darker color, and then I'm putting the white right over the top of it. And that way it blends it really well. I don't have to use water that way. Otherwise, what I'd do is I would end up having a big watery mess on my painting, and I wouldn't have these beautiful colors be as bold and bright as they could be. Okay, I need to grab some more white because I'm running out. Now the trick to this is to blend it while it's wet. So you need to be paying attention to what you're doing. I'm going to move this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. You can't be sitting and talking to your neighbor the whole time because you've got to pay attention to how you're blending your colors. Okay, so I'm just putting that on there. I've got this round circle in here. I'm going to blend a little bit of that cream in there. Okay. Maybe I'll leave some streaks. And I'll have this example up so that you can see what the finished part looks like up close. And you can always come and take a look at it if you want. Okay. I won't talk very much. I'll just let you see the process so you can see how to go about putting yours together. Now this is my background. You can do your background however you want. I wanted to use a neutral color because neutral colors will go with anything. So that way I can put this cream and white, and then I can use any color combination I want. Because remember that painting that we saw last, the points one? It's kind of got that cream colored background, and then it's got all kinds of other colors. Okay, so I've got my background done, okay, so that you can kind of see how everything's put together. I left my main areas that have my design white so that I could go back and paint. Now, I'm using this kind of paintbrush. It's kind of large, but it's round. That way I can get in where I want. I'm going to pause so that I can go wash my brush out and get some other colors on there, let this dry a little bit, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my painting done, and I used the dark purple, a medium purple, and a kind of a fuchsia hot pink. And I wanted to show you, I still am using it on the newspaper, so it's kind of like my throwaway palette. Okay, and I got the shapes that I wanted on there. I used a big brush for like the really large shapes, and then I used a little tiny brush to get my little details in there and to kind of make my lines. Because remember, in a lot of Kandinsky paintings, we saw lots of lines directing our eyes. So which direction do you think our eyes are being directed right here? This direction. Okay, so I've got color and lines and shapes going in this direction. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my shapes up here. And I'm going to start with my big brush, and I'm going to start with my yellow, and I'm doing this shape right in here. And I think I want to blend a little of my golden orange into it. So I'm going to use that on the outside. And notice I didn't wash my brush, because if I use the same color combinations like yellow and orange, they're right beside each other on the color wheel, so they work well together, and I want to blend them, so I'm going to use those two colors while they're wet, and I'm just going to blend them together. Okay, see, so I've got this blended yellow and orange area. Okay, then I'm going to use my small brush. I'm not going to wash that out yet because I might need it later. And I'm going to start adding in my details. Notice I pulled my sleeve up, so if you've got long sleeves and you don't want to be dragging it through your paint, you might need to push your sleeves up. Okay, so kind of outlining my shapes that I'm painting here. And notice I'm not mixing any of my yellow or my orange with my purple. If I mix it, what's going to happen to it? It's going to turn brown, or a nasty brown gray color. So be really careful when you're putting your colors together. Okay, these shapes are shapes that I kind of drew on here. And I'm, again, still just mixing my yellow and my orange together. Kind of looks like a sun, doesn't it? To me, it kind of reminds me of a pulsing beat, like a heartbeat, or how it feels to run and have your heart racing. So think about the things that you feel while you're painting and what you want to express. Now, for me, these are happy, joyful colors. My favorite color is purple. I love it. And yellow and orange always make me feel bright and cheerful. So it helps me on a gloomy day to do things that are bright so that I have a mood that is uplifted. Now, all this I'm doing with my small brush, and I keep mixing back and forth between my yellow and my orange because I want those to blend together. Now this one, it's going to have a little bit of an overlap, so I got to be really careful in case that purple is not completely dry, and I'm just going to kind of go around it. All right. Now, down in here, I told you I had some shapes that I wanted to put in there. Well, I'm going to mix a little of my white with my orange so I get kind of a creamsicle color. And I'm going to paint some little shapes down in there. And I might blend some other color in there. But right now, I'm just doing kind of like little polka dots. Anytime you want to do circles, the easiest way to do it, if you want a nice circle, is to do kind of a, oops, I'll just do it up on here. I'm going to do the darker orange. If you do a C shape like this, and then a C shape the other direction, you'll kind of get a circular shape. Okay, you want to kind of blend some of these. So I'm going to dip back into my orange, and I'm kind of creating almost a shadow on these. And the funny thing is, if this were a sun, it wouldn't be creating a shadow over here, would it? It would be creating a shadow on the other side. But that's okay because this is just an expressive painting. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to be accurate for realism. Remember, we're doing abstract, not real. Okay? Something that just has cool feelings. Okay? And maybe I want to have some of that yellow up here. I'm not going to overlap it with my purple, because what would happen if I did that? Brown, brown, brown. Okay, maybe I'm gonna change those shapes a little. So see, you can change it as you go. You don't have to have it exactly the same as you just drew it. You can change it. Like if you go, oh well, you know, I need something over here. Well, I'm gonna roll my brush out because I should probably wash it, but I'm gonna just dab some of this purple over here. Just dab it. You should probably wash it, but since I rolled it off on my newspaper, I knew there wasn't going to be much paint on there. And I'm just going to use what's called pointillism to create some color over here. Pointillism is when you just do little dots. And I'm going to call that done. So the last thing that I have to do is I want to write my name on it. So in my paintbrush, I can put my name down here. Just small. If you're concerned about writing with a paintbrush, take a pencil and just write it on the tape. And then when we take the tape off, you can transfer your name to the paper. Okay, but you have to have your name on it so we can tell who it belongs to, and then go put it on the drying rack. Now, if you don't finish, that's okay. We'll continue working on these next week, but make sure that when you go to clean up, not only do you get your name on that, put it on the drying rack, you take your newspaper, you fold it up so that the paint is inside, and you just throw it away, just like that. And then you can go wash your paintbrushes out. Make sure you use only cold water, and there is soap up at the sink to wash your brushes out. If you start to run out of time, just put your brushes in a tub of water, let them soak. We'll take care of them later, okay? We will talk to you later. Have a great time painting.